This is just a semantic game, like a marketing game that they're playing to think that you are on to the next best thing. This is like a rich people's toy thing.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Red Top Report. I'm your host, Joe Enders, and we're going to be talking about virtual reality, artificial reality, augmented reality, whatever the heck they're going to be calling it these days. But before we get into all that, you need to give us your money.
Whoa, don't give Apple your money. Give it to us instead.
And you can give us your money by going to buymeacoffee.com. You can do a single donation or you can do a monthly Joe for Joe donation for only $5 a month. Get down there and click the link in the description. Super easy. All right, guys. So Apple is coming out with its new virtual reality product, and it's called the Apple Vision Pro, and it's going for like $3,500. So, I guess we can all afford that in the Biden economy.
If it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Joining me to talk about this right now is Kyle Kopy. We had him on to talk about Minecraft last time, and now here you are back again to talk about more tech stuff with us.
I guess I'm the tech theology guy.
Well, I think you just look like a technology nerd, so it kind of just, flows very well.
I guess
into the subject.
I mean,
look at those. Look at the glasses. It's the glasses.
They're thick.
I think that does it.
They're like
very
Coke
thick
bottle.
Rimmed. Yeah. All right. So we have this product coming out, and I want to say that there's more to it that meets the eye. I'm not against gaming. I'm not against like having some fun, recreating a little bit, doing interesting things. But this seems to be taking it a step further, and I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on that.
Well, it is taking it a step further. Based on the name of this thing, it's not virtual reality. They've like eschewed that name. Yeah. Don't call it VR anymore. That's like the old stuff. This is something new that we're calling augmented reality, right? So it's like you're still interacting with reality, but you're just augmenting it. You're supplementing it with whatever's going on here, which is not even true. This is just a semantic game, like a marketing game that they're playing to think that you are on to the next best thing. This is like a rich people's toy thing. Now, a few years from now when it comes out and it's like $400, then we can all kind of experiment with it.
The peasants.
The peasants can do it.
Please, sir, I want some more.
The proletariat can do it, but now it's a bougie thing. If you can afford it, you can afford it. But it's the same thing as virtual reality. It's the exact same thing. Just with a few, I guess, tweaked bells and whistles.
Yeah, I mean, when I look at it, it's such a weird product because like they have, and it's not even like a real, it's got covered in cameras all around the rims of the thing and stuff, and there's no controllers at all. You like literally do control it with your fingers, that are being sensed by the cameras that are around the lenses. And not only that, it's got cameras like looking directly into your eyes and stuff. And I look at all this stuff and I'm like, man, this is like really, I guess, invasive. It would be the way I would put it. It seems like very invasive of like your body and like your image and your privacy, where it's just like, I have infrared cameras inside of this thing that are, constantly scanning my retinas and getting all these unique features that I have and stuff. And I'm not trying to be like, a conspiracy theorist about it. I don't know what the hell they're doing, but I do know how tech companies have operated in the past when it comes to giving people's data and giving people's biometric information or whatever, those other sorts of things. Like I don't remember what company it was. Either I think it might have been Apple actually that gave biometric data to the government.
Yeah, I mean that's just trying to tell people what your body mass index is. Like the government can know how fat I am. I'm fine with that.
But do you really want it to know, the unique scan of your retinas so it can track you down and find you anywhere in the world at any time with a similar retina scan and find you and do all those sorts of other things? I just feel like there's a big opportunity here for this to be completely abused and to disrespect Americans' privacy. I don't know. What do you think?
The privacy issue is a thing, but even just like on the individual level, the use of this thing can become such a time suck, I think. So the battery life on this thing is 2 hours. If you need more than 2 hours on a VR headset, Like you're doing it wrong. Like who is like, I'm sure a lot of people are going to spend all day on this thing when it comes out trying to augment their own
like
reality.
a plug in the back of it.
Yeah,
so
it's
it looks like they're in. It looks like they're in the Matrix.
It's going to be the Matrix.
The thing plugged into their head.
It's going to be the Matrix. That's the next step when this with this stuff, because people are complaining. It's like, well, I can, because it's really good, like you said with those sensors about tracking where your hand is, and literally you don't need a mouse, you don't need a keyboard, because like you could just do everything like that and it knows what you're doing. Like I'm double clicking right now, or I'm left clicking, and it knows.
And you do this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's that thing. So it's like a pinch. I'm going to pinch on that website, which is weird. You don't go to that website. So it's really good about tracking that stuff. But the thing is, you're not going to feel it. We watched one video on it where the butterfly, it tracks your hand well. The butterfly lands on your hand. You can see it and move it around. Gets closer and farther away. Good depth there. But it's like, you're not feeling that. You can see it. So there's like that sensational thing there. But like you're not feeling it. So when you're sitting on a plane and you're in whatever, you're in a jungle or something like that, and you're looking around at the monkeys, and the flight attendant comes up, like everything's still going on around you in terms of like hearing, and there's probably some noise canceling thing in there, but it's like I still, there's no sensation of me being in whatever I'm seeing. So it's like a simulated reality.
And it's a cheap one too. And like you said, what I have always worried about is what happens when they do figure out how to somehow matrixize this entire system, and actually do have, it's like, hey, sponsored by Apple, just buy our new product and we'll plug a needle into the back of your head and put you in a coma. That's what I'm worried about right now. And you're going to be in this coma where you actually do feel the sensations and all these other things, but you are actually wasting your material life away. You're not producing anything useful for the culture, for society at large. You have become basically entranced and trapped in the deadly sin of sloth for your entire life. And I feel like this has the opportunity to become a massive addiction for the entire populace. And overall, I don't see this as being a net positive. I mean, we look at what just simple screens have done. The ability to have like one of these little computers in your pocket. I mean, people are almost downloaded into these, as we speak when they're talking about things, and everything that you need and want is right there at the tip of your fingers. There's no sense of delayed gratification anymore. There's no sense of self-denial unless you actually learn on purpose through the cultivation of virtue. This is why religion's so important. To say no, to say I'm putting this thing down. I'm going to find something the hard way. I'm going to do something the hard way. So I think that this is going to be really bad for men specifically, and trying to raise children and cultivate them into good Catholics. What do you think?
It's the same is true with anything that's intrinsically good or at least neutral. It can be used for bad purposes. So it's a double-edged sword in that regard. My phone, my computer, my internet access, whatever, any technology in my life has the potential, and it has, when I use it in a good way, made my life easier and better and all these things. But that's really the art of it. And that's really where the virtue comes in. I almost think you have to develop a new virtue. Maybe they will do this one day. It's like a subcategory of moderation where it has to do with digital technology specifically. So maybe there's some, Latinist out there who can come up with a word to describe this one day. But there's got to be something where it's like, digital moderation almost, because you see that with the phone, with the computer, with I guess with these VR headsets now, is that there's such a great potential for addiction there. Yeah. And it's already started. And for the people that are really susceptible to addiction, well, whether it's substances or something digital or whatever, they're going to be the ones that are going to be drawn into it. They're going to be the ones who won't be able to leave their house.
It's going to be marketed to kids. That's what really works.
It's going to be marketed to kids, and there's going to be parents, because you see this with parents and kids with iPads. Yeah. It's like you're giving kids iPads in church. You're giving kid iPad at the restaurant to shut them up. It's just like a sort of a babysitter thing to keep them quiet. And as a parent, I get it. It's very tempting to do this because it that requires you to actually be a parent when there's not that anesthetizing screen there. You have to actually deal with your kids and sacrifice time that you would spend with your friends and joking around and having a beer and all that stuff. You really have to manage your time correctly when it comes to that. But even beyond kids, for the person who's going to use this as a way to pull themselves out of actual reality, to use it as an excuse not to go out and have real face-to-face conversations with real people and actually go to the grocery store and talk to the cashier, and I'll just order it on my VR headset and get it delivered here. And I'm in my safe, it's almost like the echo chamber thing. It's like safe. I don't have to see or hear or encounter anything that offends me, that's going to trigger me, that I disagree with. I'm just in my literally, you're creating almost like a digital bubble for yourself.
I don't think it's almost. I think that's almost certainly what you're doing. It's actually exactly what you're doing. What you're doing is, and this is actually something I've accused trads of in the past. You're running away from a world that you deem too mean and cruel for you to take part in. And this is why I say trads run into their Latin mass communities. They don't try to fight for the church or their parish or any their local parishes or anything like that to make them holy. They're running away from the problem and want to form an enclave because, like I said, life has been probably pretty mean to them. They probably were thought to be very nerdy because of the way that they dressed for church. They thought to be very nerdy because of the books that they liked to read, learning about theology and stuff, how devoted they were to their religion, because the secular culture is so hard on religious people. Like I empathize with that, right? I get it. It's not easy to be in the thing, and you are bullied and you are mistreated and all those other things. That's going to be happening to these other kids in the secular world as well. And they're going to run as soon as this begins, as soon as life starts getting hard for them. They're not going to be learning how to suffer well. They're not going to be cultivating the virtues of Catholicism that allow them to get through life and trudge through all the difficulties that are going to come in front of them to step over and conquer. They're going to run right into the VR headsets. They're going to create their own world where they can be happy, where everything's nice. It's bubble gums and rainbows. And I'm extremely concerned that we're going to see everything we see with the phones just taken to the max. And what really bothers me, and this is what I really want your comments on, is, you were talking about, it's going to make life easier, things get done quicker, all those sorts of other things. I don't see how this makes anything easier, to be honest with you, these VR headsets. It really is just a different way to use the computer. It's not really anything different. You still have to pinch. That's just as much work as a click would be. All you're doing is you spend less time hanging up a TV, I guess, because you can put that thing on and you can have it like project like a TV screen on the screen. But there's really nothing that actually is made easier. Your daily life would be relatively the same. So, I mean, I'm going to be the Luddite in this discussion and flat out say it. We don't need it. Just don't.
Luddite, a person opposed to new technology or ways of working.
Yeah, not every new piece of technology that comes out is going to be good. It's like, most businesses fail.
Internet porn is a good example.
Exactly.
No good could come from that.
No good can come from, but even just on a practical level, is this thing going to make my life more productive? I don't think this specific thing will, honestly. Yeah. Like you said, if I want to jump online, I jump on my computer. It's like really all it's doing. You're just putting this in a different venue.
It's just being made immersive, which is the one thing that makes it worse. Making, I get there was an interesting part about it, and I'll defend the product on this. I'll say, like reliving a memory, you can put up a panoramic photo of it. Yeah, that's probably just better overall. You get to experience beauty in a more real and godly sense because of that. And I think that would be good to step back into that photo. Yeah,
but the danger with that is someone has to record that memory. And how much are you taking your own real-time experience of that reality, whether it is you're going on a hike with your kids and it's like, well, we can take a picture of us by, the giant redwood or whatever. That's 2 seconds to do. Or I can be, as a dad, walking around with my freaking like 20-pound headset on. And these things are heavy too. That's what people don't realize. They're heavy headsets. And you got this big spaceship googly-eyed guy walking around and saying, I'm living the memory memory right now and I can go back and watch it later. It's like, well, Dad, I wish you were just walking alongside me, you know, looking at the birds.
This is a complaint I've just had generally, even in the current age with the phones and everything like that. Vacations just come, okay, let's stop and take a picture. Okay, let's stop and take a picture. That's not what life's about, guys. It's not about remembering the moment. It's about living that moment and experiencing it. And there's almost something beautiful about remembering it in a different way and it not being exactly how it happened as you go through your life. The memory just kind of can sometimes develop into something more beautiful. I think of a great example. When I was a kid, my dad took me up in this giant metal or giant wooden tower. And it just felt like I was like 2,000 feet in the air and like we were flying and the wind was blowing and there were birds flying next to us and things like that. It's not what happened. The thing's only like 100 feet tall.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But my memory is much better. It's a much better memory. And I think that when you sabotage all of that stuff with pictures, things just aren't as beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, well, you could build a 100-foot wooden tower in Minecraft, but that's a totally different show. You know, if I was rich, this was what I would do. I would hire like a full-time videographer to go with me on my vacations, just kind of walk around with me if I can afford it. Reality TV guy, but he would wear the new Apple headset because this thing can record in like stereoscopic 3D. So it's like making an IMAX movie home version, I guess. And you know, you could have that guy, that creepy guy off to the side wearing the headset and he's, you know, Googling around and looking at all your stuff. And then I guess you could pop it on yourself and watch it later.
I mean, the whole thing, to me, it's just, it's almost haunting in a way. And, you know, but honestly, there's not much else to say. Like I said, I'm taking the Luddite position. Let's take all of them and just start beating them with baseball bats in the streets and saying, down with technology, down with Skynet, and just kind of go forward from there. But anyways, thank you for coming on, Kyle. Always great to have the tech nerd come on and tell us some nerdy things about technology, even though I don't even think you are a tech nerd. Really,
no, I'm not. I'm actually a Luddite.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, there you go, guys. Our Luddite tech nerd. Talk about an oxymoron. All right, guys, that's all we got for this episode of the show. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, and give us a subscribe and hit that notifications bell and make sure to also select all so you get all of our notifications so you know when we're dropping new content. And with that said, guys, that's all we got for this episode. God bless you.